All right, in this video, we're going to be breaking down some of the trade reviews of what happened and how we can capitalize on a setup like this next time. The first thing we got to talk about is the importance of these rejection zones. Number one, since the beginning of the week, or I mean, dare I say it, since Friday afternoon when the market closed, no, Thursday afternoon and Friday being July 4th, the market kind of already told us what it wanted to do. All right. Now, one of the things we have to be very mindful of, though, are these rejection zones. They're very annoying, they're very misleading, and they are reactionary, meaning like they reject quite fast once they make it there. One of them was this area right here. This was Thursday's uh price action last Thursday, and they stopped right here. And let me tell you, like Trump be saying, when they make it back to these areas again from time to time, you'll notice that there are rejections that go from a profitable experience to an unprofitable one. So we have to be careful when price starts to arrive into these areas to exit our positions or close partials or move stop loss closer. That's number one. I'm sure you guys have experienced this. Number two, 4-hour time frame behavior, meaning whenever price does make it to a 4-hour low or a zone where there's rejection, or when it makes it to this area of traffic that I've been telling you guys about. What is the area of traffic? We're talking about zones where there was previous support or resistance, and it's like right in the middle of buys and sells. Like you'll notice there's a lot of wicks in these areas. Typically, they're like right here. You'll notice that there's wicks to the upside, and then they also used it to break above it. Kind of look like a whole breaker block zone. These zones are the order blocks you want to pay attention to when you're looking to exit somewhere accurately. Okay, because soon as they make it there, it's so sensitive that you might just see price reverse very quickly. So when I saw that the market on Monday in London made it to this area, I automatically assumed, just like last week when they made it here, notice Friday, Sunday, they made it to this 4-hour low, and immediately that 4-hour low from the left was rejected and they reversed. So one of the things I always tell you guys is to pay attention to reoccurring behavior, right? Some things might not make sense or be logical, but behaviors do repeat in the markets. How do I know? Look at it over here. Look at this area. You notice how as soon as they make it to the wiki area, they reject back up. And then in the next session, they usually do the retest and they continue until the whole entire session. So it was no surprise to me that price did this again in the future. Look at this area right here. Wednesday, May 28th, price comes down here on Friday, May 30th. And then we can see how they just rejected off the zone in between. Not just the order block, not just the rejection down here, but the in-between prices. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? The in-between prices where there's pretty much traffic is just like buys and sells are closing and opening right there. Those sweet spot areas, they are very accurate for exits and reentries to the opposite end. All right. If you guys haven't noticed that, I'm so happy that we're talking about this again and again. Here it is again, Friday, May 30th. They came right in here. Sunday, June 8th. And again, Monday, June the 9th. Sunday, June the 8th. Look how right in between of this imbalance. But if I go to lower time frame, you'll notice there's like wicks and breaks going on in here. And once they make it there, they just reverse. So this is why these type of scenarios, once I notice them, I start to pay attention to the behavior because I know even if I miss out but I'm not missing out on the lesson that is telling me. All right. So on Monday, this was such a beautiful reaction to why I called the trade yesterday and it played out to the T. It was simply because I noticed the behavior repeated again. Price came here, retested a higher time frame demand. For example, the 4 hour demand. Let's just focus on 4 hour behavior, right? Price came here, got in the between of the prices where there's a lot of transactions. And this is why I said, guys, more than likely, gold will buy until the end of the session towards the previous price action up top. And what did price do? We started seeing it around 33.10, 33.11. I said it'd be best to put the stop loss below London, which is the best place to put your stop loss once this behavior is going on. And price bought all the way until the end of the session above Asian highs or Friday price action. So now here's the aftermath with this type of behavior. You didn't catch it to the upside. That's cool because now we have to ask ourselves, now that price has bought and bounced off of the previous day's highs, like Friday, for example, which is a huge bookmark place in time. So I always tell you guys, make sure you mark your Fridays and Thursdays of the previous week into the new week. So on Monday, by the afternoon, and as we transition into Asia, you have to pay attention to how, till this very moment, they just could not break above Monday's highs or London. Like London tried it, but it couldn't break above it. All this should be telling you, oh, wow, okay, these guys can't break the previous day or the previous week's highs. No matter how much you think it's a buy, don't go for it. Trade what you see. Trade what's really going on. And of course, this is why a breaker block makes sense. The same way price comes in right in between these transactionary areas. And so once we notice that price can't break above the previous day's highs, then they break structure in London. By the time it's New York, you know the direction is going to be heading this way, more than likely, because that's the bigger picture, versus you trying to take very low probability counter trades. Natish, you get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's why I'm very much trying to tell you, hey, focus on the bigger picture. Yes, we can take a quick counter trade buy here. Cool. But the bigger picture, the bigger fish is the main reason why price would be selling here. Why did we see price sell here? Because it failed to break above London or the previous day's highs. And so after breaking retest, we should expect it to be heading down into an area like this, which is why I anticipated 32.96. Does that make sense, guys? Every detail matters with what I'm telling you. One, price failing to, I knew I saw something wrong with it. Price failing to break above. We've talked about this in boot camps and previous conversations, but repetition is key, right? Price failing to break above. Let me see. I keep talking to the mic, but is the mic? No, mic. Perfect. Price failing to break above previous day highs. Above previous day highs. Is a dead giveaway. Dead giveaway that price won't. That price will sell. Highly probable. Yeah, because and I'll tell you why I'm saying highly probable. Because there are days like last week when you were expecting this behavior and they just won't sell past these rejection areas. And they're like, bro, come on, man. I know you got it for me. Why are you doing this? Right? For example, right here, price could have sold, then they just stopped right here instead and just they pushed back up. These usually get us in trouble, right? So now I'm so glad Rodrigo is saying exactly what he's saying because, for example, 3,300, yeah, is way too difficult to break to the downside. Now, and the upside, is it where it's going to be? Sometimes that is also true to take a counter trade to the upside if it's failing. But sometimes you got to look at it this way too. Is that what they really want to do, or are they just rejecting off of it? And right now they're rejecting off of it. And if we do get a pullback, there's probably a high chance that we're going to get a continuation lower into like 32, 60, or right here. Let's just be very realistic, 32.75, because we saw that this is the next area where there's a lot of transactions. This is a breaker block. We see that it was a supply zone at one point, sold, broke above it, came back, retested it. We can tell transactions are exiting, entering, buy sells are going on right here. We can tell this is a clear area of support or area of interest. There's interest there. There's multiple exchanges going on. All right. So we know a pullback will occur when we make it to transactionary areas. We see that once they make it to a demand like this, there might be a pullback. So right there and then, just like driving, you're like, oh, once I start to make it closer to the curb and I'm going above the speed limit, might want to decrease my speed, might want to close partials, might want to exit some positions because we have no guaranteed. All right? We got no guarantees. So now moving on to US 30 because this was the similar situation that happened and it almost got me real good, guys. And you know I don't keep nothing from y'all. Now, how many of y'all traded US 30 or uh what the NQ or what they call it in futures land? Somebody help me here. What is US 30 called again? YM.
YM1.
Yeah, YM one exclamation point. R2D2. All right. So YM. Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate you, Twan. So it's easy to tell everyone a story of what you see with price action. I mean, all the content guys on Instagram do it a lot, right? Except for the ones that are really effective at delivering a message. We all can see the market and what it's doing. But what about when you're in the market and the ball's in your court or the soccer balls on your foot? How do you manage the defense? How do you manage the game? How do you handle the situation? And that is one of that's the difference between a trader and someone who's just a bench player talking like starters, right? You was not in the game, bro. All right. So that's why, like, even when y'all tell me about losses y'all take or something that happened to you, I'm not quick to judge because I've been there. So here's my situation and how I came across US 30. Yesterday we tried to take buys and then the sell was strong and we knew like there was a potential that it would sell. As soon as I left this chair, my stop loss got hit and I didn't even realize it because I went out to run errands. However, when I went to look at the market, I'm like, okay, what's going on? Had some conversations with some of you guys. First thing I noticed exactly how Jaquel saw it, and I think Antoine and a couple of you guys, I think Bianca as well. We noticed that price sold because simply last Thursday's highs, they couldn't even break above that. That's that's warning number one. It's like, we tried to go for counters because we thought price could buy, but 4 hour structure couldn't even be broken above. Dead giveaway. Red flag number one. You know? So now that price
sold for Monday. Did it just sell? Nah, it went way past the previous demand here. That is a break of structure or no? That is a break of structure. Dead giveaway number two. So, so now, even if we are anticipating maybe a counter trade buy or maybe whatever the case is, there's one more piece of information into the investigation that's going to lead us to what we're looking for. And what is that? The previous sessions. So at 8 a.m., I'm talking to Nitish, for example, and he's expecting a counter trade buy. Not to say he might be wrong, but I'm like, this is not giving significant counter trade buys. Even if it was 8 in the morning, I'm like, first thing I gotta pay attention to is what did London look like a few hours ago? Between the hours of Asia and 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., this is where price has stopped. So if I'm expecting a buy, price would have to break above London to keep going. And so let's drop down to the M5. 920, 930, bang, price starts to sell. This is already proving to me that price is selling. I get in around here by 940 because I saw it was retracing and it was about to sell again. Me anticipating the sell that I knew could be a continuation. Mind you, it's 12 p.m. right now. Let's pay attention to that as well. Now, as I'm in these sells, price buys. And now I'm in drawdown. I'm in drawdown. And I have to start very much monitoring what's about to happen here because I went from profit, just I saw a glimpse of profit, and then about 45 seconds later, now I'm in drawdown. And I'm like, bro, this is what I hate because who likes drawdown anyway? Two, I'm like, this clearly is a retracement to sell back down. Why are we having such problems? I go up to the 1, the 2, the 3 hour, the 4 hour. I see this is an area of rejection where we pretty much have the anticipation for it to sell, but every time it makes it here, there's a turbulence. And that's why I'm telling y'all, be careful with these areas of rejection because they tend to like mess us up. Like they tend to uh put us in situations that we really didn't have to be in, but now we have to deal with it. So, how did I manage to stay within this trade and still potentially think that my price might reverse back down? I kept saying to myself, "Hey, as long as price doesn't break past London, then hopefully this area gets respected, and hopefully the market rejects off this supply and goes back down. Because every time you guys say, oh, I'm trying to take a counter trade buy, until where? Because there has to be exit somewhere. And you have to start asking yourself, is that the bigger picture to take the counter trade? Or if I do want to take the counter trade buy, where do I exit before this thing becomes a loser? Okay. So, okay. So now, since price bought and failed to break above London, dead giveaway. That's what I wanted to see for me to stay in the trade and now give it some type of time. And hopefully, tariff talk and all these weird stuff going on in the background doesn't interfere with the intended area that price knows where to go. Like it's price that gives the structure that it wants to sell. But now we're dealing with this shit. I didn't see that one coming. And this is why sometimes guys like we have the right intention, but the market's variations can get us in some problems. I was going for a 5 figure. Oh, yeah. A 10K day today. And I had every intention to see it. I scaled up to $60. Price started selling. I'm targeting this area right here or this zone right here. By the time the market makes it down here for 200 points, Man, I'm definitely seeing 9 to 10K for sure. Just gonna show you guys a little bit of a replay of how it was looking just about an hour and a half ago. Look how beautiful this thing was selling. I'm in these cells, as you guys can see. Why would I want to close unless I'm seeing the numbers and I like it? I'm looking to the left. There's nothing telling me to close because why? Why would I close? It in 3 minutes, it was 10:58, 10:56. Why would I close when the next 3 minutes, the next healthy looking engulfing candle could really get to the goal that I'm trying to get to with good reason? Guess what happened at 11, guys? This candle started, and then instead of selling, they bought right back up. Guess what I had to do? Knowing that I saw $5,400, I had to quickly close because, to be honest, I wasn't drawdown again before it went back into profit, all because of this price action here. All because of this right here. Then the next candle came back down, and I'm thinking it's going to keep selling. And then it bought right back up. Had I not closed, I would have ended the day so far with an unnecessary loss, knowing that if I check back in about 2 hours, it's doing exactly what I was expecting it to do. How many times have we fallen in a situation like that?
Happened today, man.
Plenty of time.
So imagine you trying to call signals in murky waters like this. It's very frustrating for the person who would even want to give y'all that type of service. But if I'm over here having to focus on my own trades and these little stuff happen, these frustrated situations happen, I'm not about to do that. I'm going to teach you the circumstances of learning situational awareness. And hopefully when you in the driver's seat, you can manage your trades as well, because trying to update everybody of what's going on with the trade and what you're wanting to do, it can take away from your 100% focus on making sure you're hunting for yours. And sometimes I'm managing the PAM too, trying to give y'all great results. I can't do too many things at a time, you know? Now, and that's why sometimes I don't even be trying to text y'all back too fast too, because like I need this moment to think. Very, very crucial moments. And so I can only imagine how you guys are like managing the situation as well when you have these type of markets. That's why I rather do like post-market analysis or trade reviews, and we talk about some of the things that happen so we all could be on the same page. All right. So quickly I realized, you know what, man? Even if I want a certain type of profit for the day, we all need to be mindful of these rejection zones, man, because they'll get us in trouble. And better to close whatever you have, because if price pulls back and still respects the range of the day, there could be a possibility for us to re-enter about an hour and a half later by 12:30 p.m., 1 p.m., 2 p.m., sometimes even 3 p.m. They pulling back into the earlier hours just for a break and retest, and then the continuation you were looking for. That helps you to maintain your losses, maintain the trades, even though you're getting out at less than you had, but at least you're not closing out nasty losses, bro. I saw negative 6 bands and I had to sit there with my gut wrench, and I'm like, oh my God, bro, this was not the plan. I'm looking at a clear structure. Why are you guys bullshitting? I thought this was a grown person's market. Why do I feel like a playground? Because I'm getting played with. Why are we playing little games here? I thought this was a serious sport. Thought this was a grown man sport. Like, what's going on? Very frustrating. Very frustrating times, right? So now, ideally, structure like this, if you're having trouble with it, you might want to scale in smaller throughout the rest of the session so you don't lose the prior gains that you made. All right. So these are some of the things that we have to be keeping in the back of our mind. Oh, you peeped it? Yeah, Daniel, you don't miss a beat, bro. All right. So this is why I wanted to break this down with y'all. Yes, the setup looks good, but what we don't be thinking about are situations like these, and it helps you to build your situational awareness even through the frustration of a loss. You're like, man, next time I'm not gonna let this happen. Next time, I'd rather just close whatever I see here around the rejection zone. Because one thing about rejection zones, they'll make it here, reject, come back up, then sell off. And such was the case with gold as well. We sold on Monday from very early at 6 p.m. The market started selling off, selling off, selling off, selling off, selling off by London. They made it to the first area of rejection, bought back up. But is it now a bullish market? No, they retraced back at areas of premium. They left the rejection wick, dead giveaway. And then the follow through with the sessions after were not breaking above nothing. So when you pull up to New York at 10 a.m., for example, and you see that this is what the behavior is like, you should know right away that it is more probable that the market will be selling because they were having issues buying above the previous days, and they sold, rejected, pulled back in, but they're gonna sell again. All right. So even if you missed out on the initial sell or the counter trade buy, don't be frustrated because there's one more setup and opportunity that will be right there for you, which is the continuation sells. Is that a thorough breakdown? Does that make sense? Does that bring clarity to you guys?
Yep, good and clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me hear your stories. What happened? What happened today with y'all? Bianca.
With me, let me see. So I was looking at NAS for the sale,
Yeah.
and then I marked up the London high, and then I was like, okay, my entry is gonna be right above London, like for a retest of London's high, but it didn't even reach that before it kept going all the way down and smashed my TP. So now I'm just like frustrated because I've been looking at this for like a week.
Right.
Like, finally, I'm up like 6:30, 7:30. I'm like, okay, 7:30 highs hit. Now I'm
Right.
watching it hit. Now I'm watching it, you know, drop a little bit. I'm like, okay. By the time by the time New York come, I'm gonna wait till like 9:45, 10 o'clock. See if it, try to at least tap it a little better so I can get a better entry. But no, it just kept going down and down and down. I'm like, damn. So now I'm just like, I just want to hop in anything, but I can't because I'm
Right.
gonna be
Knowing
mad.
the risk. Knowing the risk.
Exactly. So now I'm just looking right now again.
Yep. I know exactly how that feels. But now we're checking the 2 hour and the 4 hour. We notice why price rejected. It's one of those weird little annoying rejection zones, right? And sometimes it's not even comfortable wanting to take the counter trade buy. But I'll be honest with you, sometimes you just have to take that with good breathing room outside of the rejection zone, because more than likely they'll literally jump right back inside the range for the day. That's not the ideal trade that we are going for, but hey, sometimes we got to play ball the way they playing ball, you know?
Yeah. And when you had called out that US 30 yesterday and then you got off, I'm like, stop loss hit.
Yeah, I got up and that bit hit. I'm like, oh wow.
Because I got in that trade too. And I'm like, okay, forget it. Forget about the buys. Because before that, I was looking for buys. I'm like, ain't no way we get into this buy. You in US 30, I'm in NAS. And soon as like the next minute or whatever, it starts selling again. I'm like, okay, we're definitely selling. I don't know about tomorrow, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Cause like, here's my regret about yesterday. Of course, I looked at US 30 and I looked at gold. But gold was the better setup because it respected that 4 hour demand. And then that rejection, every time we see that setup, it's going to buy back up and it's gonna be a great scaling opportunity. Like 290 pips, shit. You know? And it repeats over and over. Rejects, breaks, retests by 10, 11. You got a great trade that's going to be rallying up until the end of the session or probably the next day. They're looking for the highs now once they can't break above the lows. As above, so below. We talk about this all the time, but every time the situation presents itself in real time, we got to know how to not only recognize it, execute it, and know it so well that we didn't just execute it shyly, you know?
The thing that happened to me today is the thing that's like I'm trying to get over. It's like I know the direction, but I'm waiting for a certain price point. And it's like
Right.
every time I'm waiting for that price point, like by the time I look, TP smash, and it's like you're a couple points away from us. It's like I don't know what I'm doing, if I'm looking at the wrong time frame, if I'm just not trusting myself into getting in, even though it's not exactly where I want it. I, it's just weird. It's just very weird.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely weird, but just remember while you're in these trades now, while you're in these trades these days, while we're all in these trades, let us all be mindful. I know I sound like a reverend right now. I don't know why, but uh let's just be mindful of like these rejection zones to the left. Cause soon as they make it there, you might have been anticipating a continuation past that zone, but they're turning these areas into order blocks that are like very, very tough to break. And then as you're sitting here patiently trying to let the trade play out, better to just close out in these sensitive areas and expect maybe a counter trade buy with less risk just to like even out your trade for the day. Like it be some of them situations that like make me mad because I'm like, man, I came here to respect my trade and the time that it takes for the trade to play out. Now here I am regretting that I didn't just scalp and walk away. I didn't come here to scalp. I saw a really good setup that'll give me a lot more than I'm expecting, and now they playing games. So let's just be mindful of these rejection zones, and they look a lot more clear on the 1 hour to the 4 hour. Okay, as soon as they start making it there, start closing, bro. Expect a retracement, and then once it makes it to yesterday's highs or yesterday's London, yesterday's Asia, then we check and see if they're wanting to continue into the intended area. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. All right. That was all I have for today. Um, any questions while we're here?